4730 or something. Oh, it looks like it's restarting now.
Okay.
The projector is.
Hello?
Oh, yep, we're on. Okay.
Valentine's from the dollar store of some like unhealthy lollipops that she was like, "Are you gonna give these to my church?" I'm like, "Oh God, they're all gonna judge me because these are like
Right.
really
Yeah,
crappy
that's funny, right.
Valentines." But I'm like, at the
Giving you
point, I'm
all
like,
the
just
red
put it in the
dye.
basket because
Yeah.
well, we got little bubbles for Erica for next Saturday.
Oh, that's sweet.
And then little tiny, not kazoos, but like the birthday things. So I was at the dollar store. So she was like, "Can I get an eraser? And can I get these like Valentine popsicle cones?" It's been a long day.
Okay. Hello? So this should be... Oh, there we go.
Okay.
So now that is a little...
Okay.
Pardon me. Wow. All right, that's coming through.
Yeah, we're trying to do that. Make a statement.
So that is...
Morning, Jay. Morning, how are you? Good. Get everything working?
So just sometimes you just have to... That's on. It'll just take a second. It's just coming through a little bit. Hey, Kate. Nice to see you. So that's all right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's enough, I think.
Yep. Yeah, that's always a good idea. Morning. How are you today? Oh, thanks. Thank you.
Hey there.
Yeah,
Shalom.
Great.
went really well.
So,
Just all the
hello.
is really fun.
It's, all right, how are we doing?
Thank you.
Yeah, enjoy the morning.
Good morning. Hope you are wonderful on this beautiful sunny morning. Welcome to the Mid-Coast Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. I'm Tiffany Venzel, and I am happy to be your worship associate today. So our halftime minister, Reverend Erica Hewitt, is in the house. But she is not preaching today. She is going to be with the children. This is a very special day for the kids. They get Erica time one-on-one, as she is only here one more Sunday. Next Sunday is her last Sunday before she goes on her sabbatical, a 3-month time of rest and renewal till the end of May. So we're glad to have her today. And as she is away, it allows us as a congregation to connect and grow spiritually with each other and to strengthen our bonds. So we'll all look forward to the next time that we are together with Erica and also grow as a congregation without. So today we are happy to have Mark Levin. Well, this is your 4th time retiring to Mid-Coast Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, so we are happy to have guest minister Mark Levin today. So I'm going to just tell you a little bit about Mark before we dive into the service so that you can get to know a little bit about him before he speaks later today. So Reverend Mark served the First Universalist congregation in Rockland for 14 years before leaving in August to take care of his ailing mother, who did pass away in September, so we're sorry about that. So Reverend Mark, graduated from the Star King School for Ministry in 2003 after receiving the call of ministry while attending Clark University, where he majored in philosophy. So he's a native New Englander, and Mark learned lessons early in life about, Mark learned early in life about painful blessings, being a diehard Red Sox fan. I think some of us can relate to that. And Mark also internalized lessons about beloved community, spending summers at overnight camp from the age of 6 until 23. So during those summers, Mark developed a love of the outdoors and a deeply felt sense of our interconnectedness with one another and the earth and the universe. Grounded in his belief that separateness is an illusion, Mark does his best to live out Thurman's admonition to do what makes you come alive, keeping in mind that what we do affects everything around us. And so, he believes we are called to act wisely and generously with creativity and compassion. So welcome, Reverend Mark. We're glad you and Reverend Erica are here. Yay. And I think that if you are new to Unitarian Universalists or new to us, what I just said a little bit about Mark's bio is how a lot of us believe. But if you're new to us, I will add a little bit to what Mark referenced in his bio, that we, as UUs, are liberal religious people. We're brave, we're curious, we're compassionate thinkers, and we're doers. And we're diverse in faith, our backgrounds, our ethnicities, but we are bonded in a belief that together we do good and we're better when we work together. So wherever you are on your spiritual journey, we are glad that you are here, and we welcome you. So with that being said, are there any new guests that feel brave enough to introduce themselves? Or not? And if you are new to us and you don't feel comfortable introducing yourselves at this time, please join us after the service. We do have coffee, conversations, and there's always some good snacks. So there's that. So before we enter into our time of worship, are there any announcements that pertain to the fellowship? Kate, and then Jill.
I hope when you came in, you had a chance to get your pronoun sticker to add to your name tag. We will have those after the service if you missed it. If you don't understand why that's important, there's an article in the newsletter that explains it, and I would be happy to answer questions, as would Julia, as members of the welcoming congregation.
Great. Thank you. Yes. Jill?
Just a special thank you to those who were able to make it to our Social Justice Committee event yesterday morning. And MUSON is the main Unitarian Universalist State Advocacy Network is in full gear right now because the legislative session is also in gear. So there's information about our climate change bills that we have endorsed for this year out on the table in the lobby. So we welcome you to check in. I'll be there if you have any questions about any of that. There's a 5 bills that we have in the works.
And I think we have time for one more announcement. Lindy?
So I am unfortunately going to be unable to be here next Sunday, this last Sunday, and that's especially a problem because I'm on pod. So I am just saying right now, if you're one of the few in the crowd who are on pod and please talk to me.
What?
All right.
Yeah,
And
makes
that's
sense.
the other thing I want to say is a chance to find out how much fun pod has.
So thank you, Lindy, for that. So, but before we have Kevin play us into our prelude, can we put our cell phones on worship mode, please? That we can all be here together and just connecting. So let's take a breath. Let's let the week catch up with us and allow Kevin to play us into a time for us to be here and to be present. Before I read our opening words, is there any children who would like to light our chalice? Autumn and Toby, do you want to come together? I'll read our words and then we can sing our chalice lighting song. Okay. Thank you, ladies. Opening words this morning are from Kendall Gibbon. Out of a community of diverse heritage and belief, we come together to share our hope and to create good in the world. The prophets of all traditions and times have taught us that we are called to mercy, generosity, and mutual care. That is to be great, is to serve. We know that there can be no enduring happiness for humanity so long as suffering and want go unrelieved. Until all may be sheltered, none of us is truly at home. May the power of our various faiths sustain us in this work, that we may be the hands of holy creativity and justice, and together build a better world. Rise up, O flame, thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy. Our opening hymn this morning comes from the Teal Hymnal. Does everybody have the Teal Hymnal? Looks like it. Okay. Please stand as you are willing and able to sing joyously hymn number 1000. Arise and greet the day. Dance with joy and sing a song of gladness. The light of hope here shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home. A new day dawns, once more the gift is given. Wonder fills this moment shared together. The light of peace here shines upon great song. Thank you, Reverend Mark, for picking that.
Yeah.
So, would the kids like to come down for Time for All Ages? Do you want the magic carpet? No, no magic carpet.
No, we're all right. So, yeah, we're going to kind of stand up. So, I've been your neighbors to the north now for about 15 years, and it's great to be among you again. So, one of the other things that I learned in camp and have tried to maintain throughout my life is a sense of play. So, often when I move around Maine or in my own congregation, I would break out what I would call the clown gear. And so today I brought what is called an energy stick. And it's a very, very simple little toy. So to demonstrate, I just want to show that, I guess the first thing to realize is that I'm a battery, basically. So that this stick is powered throughout me. But what is really interesting, if I could borrow Erica for a second, and this is really why I brought it today. So now if she holds one end and I hold this end, nothing happens. But if we hold hands, so I just thought what I would like to do first with all of you, I'd like to see if we could circle up and if we could make one big battery together. So if you all are willing to hold hands, just need someone to hold here. I'll hold here.
Ready?
All right?
And let's just test it. Mason and Dylan, you let go.
Ah,
You hold hands again. Autumn and Toby let go. Yeah.
all right.
And
you just barely.
Noah. Yeah.
Right.
If you
Thank you.
move your hand like
And what if it goes like, you go like this? The hands. But so, it shows me, one, that there is this power that moves through us and among us, but it needs all of us to show up. It needs all of us to take part, all of us to stay in relationship, because as soon as someone stops, the power stops.
Can we try it with everyone here?
That is a great idea. So, yeah, so let's see if we can make a big circle, as much as people want or need. Now, of course, you can always opt out, but let's just see if we can make a big circle. Let's see how much energy moves in and among this fellowship. Come on over, Bob. See if we can include everyone. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay. We're getting there. All right. All right, can we feel the energy? You feel it? Right now, let's see how it goes. Everyone ready? Hey! That's great. Thanks for playing, everybody. Yeah, that's all. What's up?
How does it work?
It's magic. It's the force.
Oh, now in peace.
Energy.
Go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround me everywhere, everywhere you may go. We'll let Reverend Erica and the children go out for what I'm sure will be a very fun time. So as Reverend Mark pointed out to the kids and all of us, we are connected. And so I would just ask you to just take a moment of breath. Let the week catch up with you. And just reflect for a moment. Each of us comes here with different things that have happened during the week. And each of us may have a joy, and each of us may have a sorrow that we are carrying today. So this is time in our fellowship where we as a fellowship are allowed to be a little bit vulnerable, and we can share a joy or sorrow that we have had, and then we can feel supported by the members of this congregation. So if you feel inclined, please come up, tell us your name, speak your joy or sorrow, and place a stone in what we call our healing waters. It's just reminding that we're all connected and that we're here for each other. So this time is yours.
Hi, I'm Rosie, and I have a joy and a very little sorrow. So my joy is that I'm going back to England, and for 9 days over the vacation. We'll see my friends, my family, and I'm really excited about that. The sorrow is that Glenn is not coming, so he will be here, so I'll miss him and I'll miss my dogs.
Sandy, do you want me to? Yeah.
Put a stone of appreciation in, especially for Jill and the Social Justice Committee, with a wonderful job that they did yesterday organizing the climate change workshop, which is probably the most important thing facing all of us today.
Absolutely.
43 attendees, mostly non-users. So
Yeah.
nice turnout and a nice event.
A big joy for people who are interested in moving forward with climate change.
I'm Molly, and I want to put a stone in for Rob, who's doing his sermon at the Rockland UU today. I wanted to be there with him, but we also wanted the girls to be with Erica, so we split forces today, and he's doing that right now. So if everybody wants to give him a good thought.
Yeah. You don't know Molly's husband. No, yeah, Molly's husband Rob is in Rockland preaching at the Rockland Church today in his sermon. So thinking of him. I have one last stone here. I'm just gonna have you think of a joy that you want to hold in your heart, and also maybe a sorrow that you want to hold close to your heart as well. I'm going to place the stone into the healing waters and just take a moment before Reverend Mark will lead us into meditation. May we remember those who have spoken.
I am part of you, O truth unfolding. I am part of you. I'm part of a cosmos that I cannot see, either its edge or its end. How amazing. I'm part of a galaxy of 1,000,000 billion stars. They say that it's a pinwheel. How amazing. I'm part of a galaxy of 1,000,000 billion stars. They say it's a pinwheel. How wonderful. I'm part of a system of planets that swing around a small parent star. How strong the hands of invisible gravity must be to hold it all together just so. I'm part of a planet green and blue, along with mountains and seas and sponges and spores and lichen and lava and robins and rain, birches and bass and centipedes and cities. How great the variety. How astonishing the mutual dependence of it all. I'm part of a species that belongs to a grouping of animals called mammalia. And so is every other human being, equally so. I'm part of a political unit called a nation. And there are many nations, each of them dear in many ways to its local citizens. And I'm part of a family with ethnicity and practice and love in the form of food, rooted in the hills of Eastern Europe. and the passion and mores of Boston. Now others know other roots and other practices. I'm part of a circle of friends rooted not in ethnicity or food, but in simple redemptive love. I'm part of a climate region, and part of a state, and part of a city, and part of a neighborhood, and part of a congregation. And with you all, I am part and parcel of this moment. This simple silence which will last but a few breaths and then will be gone forever. But like cosmos and galaxy and planet and species and nation and climate and city and neighborhood and family and circle of friendship, it is precious, a blessing for which I give thanks. Amen. So one other thing that's true about me, well, I love to play, and camp life is threaded throughout my life. The other thing is I grew up as a TV kid, so very often in worship I will use videos or combine pictures and music. And today I brought a video that holds up the beautiful diversity and the universality of human experience, and specifically religious experience. So let's rise in body or spirit to sing our next hymn. In the spirit of the fragile beauty and the diversity and universality of human experience, and our responsibility to hold it all and to nurture it. So we're going to sing hymn number 134, Our World is One World.
Our reading this morning is from Essex Hemphill, who is up here. Some of us bake wonderfully, write, paint, do any number of things, have facilities with numbers that others don't have. Those are your blessings. Some of us are very strong and candid, and some of us are nurturers, or combinations of all those things. Just be aware of what your particular things are, and nurture them, and use them towards a positive way of living. And now Reverend Mark will be giving his sermon.
Essex Hemphill was born in Chicago in 1957. Moving to southeast Washington, D.C., he was raised as one of 5 siblings in, as he described it, in poverty so deep I don't even want to remember it. He started writing poetry as a young man, finding in that activity both an escape from and an engagement with the deep struggles that he experienced as a young African-American gay male. He was growing up in a vigorously racist world, one in which his own race raged with vicious homophobia. By the time that he became a student at the University of Maryland, he already had identified as a writer. Essex Hemphill had the meteoric energy of a man who seemed to have suspected that his would not be a long life. A shimmering, seething shooting star, enraged, burning brightly, going not at all gently into that dark night. And he performed his poems in public readings with a charismatic intensity, brazenly breaking the silence in the Black, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender communities. And he held nothing back, writing variously lyrical, then furious poems about life as a Black gay and gay Black man. It was all there. Religious rants against religious homophobia, depictions of life in the middle of the AIDS epidemic. In one of his poem Ceremonies, he would admit, love is a dangerous word in this small town. Hemphill died on November 4th, 1995, as a young man. He was just 38. And as a final cruel injustice, only months later, the very first protein inhibitors were approved, offering a type of AIDS treatment that transformed a death sentence into a manageable disease. Now, given that brief biography, you would not likely suspect Essex Hemphill's connection to this particular service, which is threaded through with gratitude and blessing, and specifically the practice of finding and naming and bestowing blessings. But despite all of that struggle in his life, despite all of the ways that he was put down and kept out, Hemphill had a phrase that he spoke so often, a phrase he spoke so frequently and wrote so frequently that it became his trademark. It was this, simple: take care of your blessings. And with every justifiable reason to see the glass half empty, Essex Hemphill was in the habit of urging anyone who would listen, take care of your blessings. He said it as a greeting. He said it as a farewell. He signed his books that way. In fact, an exhibition of his works long after his death was titled Take Care of Your Blessings, because he was so closely associated with that phrase. Now, Hemphill was once asked in an interview what he meant by it. And so he responded, as we heard, some of us bake wonderfully, write, paint, do any number of things, have facilities with numbers that others don't have. And God bless the treasurers among us. But those things, those are your blessings. Now, some of us are very strong and candid. Some of us are nurturers or combinations of all those things. And then this beautiful man, who many might say was dealt a really tough, a really negative hand, he urged, just be aware of what your particular things are and nurture them. Use them toward a positive way of life. That's simply what I mean. So, take care of your blessings. It's so simple, but like much of good religion, it's easy to understand and hard to live out. Right? Those religious phrases like be mindful or love your neighbor as yourself. Easy to understand, but hard to live out. Take care of your blessings. Or blessings, what your particular things are. Using those things toward a positive way of living. Blessings, where life comes alive for you, where you feel most like yourself and most able to be part of something so much more expansive than yourself. Blessings, where the full kaleidoscopic range opens to you and you see life in living color, where the whole scale sounds and you're able to offer the song of your best self in harmony with the music of the spheres. Take care of your blessings. It's a simple, simple message this morning. Easy to understand, but maybe hard to live out. And so there's wisdom about how we begin to do that. There's a delightful witticism attributed to the Poles that declares an unwillingness to buy into others' drama. They say, "Nimoy cirque, nimoy amalpi." The translation is, not my circus, not my monkeys. So part of taking care of your blessings is knowing what is yours to take care of. Knowing which is your circus and which are your monkeys. A neighbor or a colleague or a classmate or maybe an uncle at a Thanksgiving table picks a religious fight or piously proclaims all of your spiritual inadequacies. Right? It's kind of like Serenity Now from Seinfeld, but it's just not my circus, not my monkeys. One of those eternal Eeyores is braying their latest gloom. And another way I'm disappointed in you is not my circus, not my monkeys. Commercialism in all its shimmering seduction stokes the desire for more and more and more, while certain politicians warn us repeatedly that there are people out to take what is yours. Not my circus, not my monkeys. Now, of course, the issue with that spell of self-protection is that right now there are so many circuses and there are so many monkeys. There are so many things that draw our attention and invite our compassion and our righteous anger and our calling to be change agents and to be love's hands in the world. Just in these last weeks, there were kabuki trials and retribution, medical crises, more shootings. This morning, Jerusalem and Thailand and the Wuhan province in China, they're all on my heart this morning. Frustration and anxiety crest in our politics as our nation and its leaders turn their back on our ideals. We wonder if there's any way to build a bridge back towards some way of uniting these states and its people. So many monkeys. So when there's so many circuses and so many monkeys, how do we know or choose which are ours? And so we turn back to that question. What are your blessings? Where do you feel most alive? How are you using your blessings toward a positive way of living? In Frederick Buechner's memorable way of it, where does your deep gladness and the world's deep hunger intersect? You know, it's, I think, one of the reasons we gather together on these Sunday mornings. It's one of the reasons we build these covenantal communities together. Because we help each other take care of our blessings. We help each other find our deep gladness. We help each other respond to the world's deep hunger. And this fellowship has been doing that for each other and in the world in big and small ways for all the time that I've been your neighbor to the north. 15 years now. I've seen the power in this fellowship. I've seen your witness grow. I've seen the power of the covenant here in this fellowship. I've seen the ways you act out, the ways you take care of each other, and the ways you take care of your responsibility in the world. There was the trip to New Orleans that our congregations did together. I've seen your steady witness against the white supremacy culture over this past time, and just even little things that you do each and every week. So, for example, this week I notice you're wearing the pronoun stickers. And it's those acts that ground you in our principles. It's those acts that show you to be taking seriously that invitation to take care of your blessings. Now, you all are about to enter a time of taking care of your blessings in a different way. You're feeding and nurturing your shared ministry with Erica by empowering her to take a breath and by finding new ways to be in relationship together. And during this time, you're taking care of her, you're taking care of your ministry, and you're taking care of each other. And what you have in these months is this opportunity to, with real intention, together take care of the blessing that is this fellowship. To take care of the blessing that you are in each other's lives and that you all are together in this community. So this is a profound moment in the life of this fellowship. What are your blessings? What makes you come alive? And where does that gladness meet the world's deep hunger? How do we all take care of our blessings in our own lives? And that question that the movie held up for me today, how do we begin to hold the dual truth of the amazing diversity and universality of human experience? How do we honor the different and the similar and the universal and the unique ways of living that was shown so movingly in that video? How do we love and protect all the children? How do we take care of all of those blessings? How do we take care of our precious little lives and our homes and our world and our earth? How will you all nurture and care for and empower that energy that we saw moves through us and among us over these next few months? All we can do is to choose our circus and our monkeys and to be present to it, to be aware of what each of our particular things are and to nurture them, to use them toward a positive way of life, and to take seriously our calling to find and name and bestow blessings in this world. Years ago now, I read C.S. Lewis's theological fantasy called The Great Divorce. Some of you may recall, in it, a narrator inexplicably finds himself in a gray town and a dispiriting place. It's an image that Lewis uses for either purgatory or hell. Now, fortunately, in the story, the narrator learns that there will be a bus available for any who want to be transported to the foothills of heaven. And so the narrator boards this bus, talking with his fellow travelers along the way. And they arrive and they're introduced to what life is like in paradise. And it's not a place of harps and clouds, but rather it's a place of personal development. It's a place where people work toward becoming more and more real and more substantive. And here's the thing. Almost all of the travelers opt to go back to the gray town. And they offer all kinds of explanations and excuses. An artist declares the need to preserve the reputation of his school of painting, and a cynic suspects that the whole thing is just a trick, and a bully finds it offensive that he'd have to be with people that he believes are beneath him. Now, C.S. Lewis later wrote his brother a letter in which he acknowledged a sensibility that seems to underwrite that story. So Lewis wrote, "I began to suspect that the world is divided not only into the happy and the unhappy, but into those who like happiness and those who, odd as it seems, really don't." Reading Essex Hemphill's life script, it would be easy to think that his was an unhappy life. But instead, by all accounts from those who knew him the best, he actually seems to have decided that he preferred happiness. Not a shallow, self-serving happiness, but instead a life that was rich and impassioned and full of engagement. Take care of your blessings, he urged. Take care of your blessings. And now with so much bearing down on us, that is still a choice. Be aware of your particular blessings. Nurture them. Use them toward a positive way of living. Make sure you don't buy a ticket to the wrong circus. Amen.
Thank you, Mark. We appreciate that. That was great. As we take a moment to transition into stewardship here at this fellowship, we realize that it is a blessing to be here. So we don't tithe, we give because we believe we're worth it. We believe that we have something special, and we trust each other. So as we do our stewardship this morning, please give that in mind. And I'd also like to just take a moment that if somebody is a blessing, make sure you tell them, because sometimes we all need to hear that. Well, now, accept the offering. You made it easy. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. Thank you for your gifts. And would you please join us in singing our last hymn this morning, joyfully and with heart, hymn number 128, For All That Is Our Life. Please stand as you are willing and able. All that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift, which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own design. For we which others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come in praise and thanks. For all is our life. For selling us bear, for pleasures trail and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours of past, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life. For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift, which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own design.
Our closing words today are from Rebecca Parker. Your gifts, whatever you discover them to be, can be used to bless or curse the world. The mind's power, the strength of the hands, the reaches of the heart, the gift of speaking, listening, imagining, seeing, waiting. Any of these can be used, any of these can serve to feed the hungry, to bind up wounds, to welcome the stranger, to praise what is sacred, to do the work of justice or offer love. Also, any of these can draw down the prison door, hoard bread, abandon the poor, obscure what is holy, comply with injustice, or withhold love. You must answer this question. What will you do with your gifts? Choose to bless the world. Amen. Blessed be. May I be I be an instrument of peace.
Thank you, Kevin. Please join us for coffee conversation.